ladies, and welcome. Today we have a top 20 for the very first time in our series. There were just too many Stage 1 themes. Almost every game ever made qualifies for this list. You do have a few exceptions, mainly games that start with a stage select like DuckTales or Mega Man, or fighting games which are usually randomized, or RPGs, which don't really have a Stage 1 most of the time. And those are actually the first three guidelines today. No fighting games, no stage select, no RPGs. And from now on, almost all of our lists will have the two guidelines, original tunes only, and one per franchise or series. So we will stop announcing those. The only thing left, it has to be the first playable stage. So with no further delay, the first part of our top 20 Stage 1 themes. Number 20, Super Mario Bros. Stage 1-1. So our first up comes from the game that pretty much set the bar for Stage 1 themes. Can you name a more iconic theme in gaming? This theme is a classic. It may not be the best musical composition, but it definitely deserves a spot among the top Stage 1 themes. Composed by Koji Kondo, this theme is widely recognized. People who don't even play games know this tune. My very own mother, for example. I played this game so much as a kid that she got sick of hearing the music again and again. She ended up asking me to either wear headphones or just turn down the TV. Long story short, almost everybody knows this theme. Number 19, Echo the Dolphin, Home Bay. Technically, this is the first stage of the game. The game starts out with Echo either swimming left or right, left for the password screen and right for the first stage. The soundtrack to this game is one of my overall favorites. It's so soothing and relaxing, but yet emotionally deep. It's a soundtrack that definitely does not lack feelings. I contacted the composer Spencer Nielsen and he answered a few questions about the soundtrack for me. I do have a few more questions for him, so hopefully I will be able to make a video about the Echo Sega CD soundtrack, and what I have learned about it. Number 18, Wizards and Warriors, Forest of Elrond. Composed by the one and only David Wise, for me this is one of the most memorable soundtracks on the NES, and it all starts with that title screen and the Stage 1 theme. It's not the most in-depth beat you will hear, but it comes from a console that does have limited capabilities when it comes to the hardware. Hardware aside, I think Mr. Wise did a wonderful job in creating a dark and medieval atmosphere with his music. It's ominous, and it's a great theme to start off a game like Wizards and Warriors. Number 17, Altered Beast, Rise from Your Grave. Our 17th spot is held by a Sega Genesis launch title, and one with great music. This was a great port to showcase what the Genesis can do. It's not arcade perfect by any means, but they worked wonders. At the time, home consoles couldn't handle the same graphics and sound. At first, the theme almost reminds me of Wizards and Warriors. It has that same medieval feel to it, but then the Yamaha sound chip in the Genesis steals the spotlight. Composed by Toru Nakabayashi, who is also known for composing for another great Genesis game, GOLDENEYE. We let you hear the Genesis version of the Altered Beast Stage 1 theme because it's the rendition we all heard the most. But you can also find it on quite a few systems, including the Genesis and arcade, which we already mentioned, but also MSX, NES, and Commodore 64 to name a few more. And of course, I recommend the arcade version. It's the best of the bunch, it feels the cleanest as well as the most complete. Number 16. Star Fox, CORNERIA. Our first Super Nintendo theme today comes from the 1993 game Star Fox. Composed by Hajime Hirasawa, this is the only Star Fox game in which he composed for. I think that's a shame because he did a great job, and his musical style was emulated in Star Fox 2 to give the soundtrack a similar feel. In Star Fox 64, his style was mostly abandoned, but his style will live on forever in the original Star Fox game. It's unique and makes good mission music. You can almost feel the determination emanating off the beat. Number 15, GOLDENEYE 007, The Dam. A soundtrack composed mainly by Graham Norgate and Grant Kirkhope. I couldn't find credits for who composed the individual themes, so if anyone has a good site or database, please let us know. As a big fan of 007 movies, I have high expectations when it comes to anything 007 related. Needless to say, this game was far from a disappointment. It was a very pleasant surprise. The graphics and gameplay were both top-notch, and I dare say the soundtrack was almost perfect. If you watch the GoldenEye movie and then play the GoldenEye game, you will hear slight similarities. Some of the instruments that were on the movie soundtrack also appear in the game soundtrack. Little things like this can go a long way. And I can say this was the first 007 game where I actually felt like 007, and the music was a huge part of that. Number 14, Donkey Kong Country, Jungle Japes. Yes, I know, almost every top 10 we make about gaming music has Donkey Kong Country. David Wise was 100% on top of his game when he composed and arranged this soundtrack. The theme starts out with a little bit of a tribal feel, but as it progresses, I get more of a jazz or almost a blues type of feel. Then, the feel starts to get darker. It's very unique and goes through many different styles. Maybe not the most in-depth composition, but it has a cool little funky beat. Number 13, Ninja Gaiden, Act 1. From a notoriously difficult game, and when you turn this game on for the first time and start playing, you are met with this theme, and it's an intense theme. The game has started and your epic journey has just begun. I dare say this is a perfect Stage 1 theme for a game like this. It gets the blood flowing and prepares you for what's upcoming. A game that will probably frustrate you, so just imagine if it had repetitive, annoying music. It would be 10 times as bad. But that's not the case. We have a great game with some great music. Number 12, Tenchu Stealth Assassins, Punish the Evil Merchant. Speaking of ninja, up next we have Tenchu. The first time I played this game, I was blown away. I have never seen a ninja game with a full 3D layout like this, and the fact stealth actually mattered. Yes, there are stealth games, there are ninja games, and there are 3D games. But what about a full-on 3D ninja game with stealth, samurai, oni, rival clans, and almost everything else one would want in a game based in feudal Japan? Then, top all of that off with one of the most epic soundtracks ever recorded for a video game, and you have Tenchu. It starts off with that bass line, and you will notice this is not your average soundtrack. Number 11, Life Force, Power of Anger. Up next we have a classic Konami game, a game I grew up with and always enjoyed playing. I do have to admit that I played this game far more than I played Gradius. And spoiler alert, that's why Life Force is above Gradius on our top 20 Stage 1 themes. There's just something about this theme that makes it feel like the beginning. It's almost like an anthem, where it's a confident beat. As always, we do recommend the arcade version, in which you can find as a part of the Konami Arcade Classics Anniversary Collection on the PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. Okay, so there we have 20 through 11, and that wraps up part 1. We will be back next week with the second part that will have 10 through 1. We have already narrowed down the list, we just gotta edit it all up. And thanks to everyone who submitted Stage 1 themes, we'll throw all of the comments in the next episode to avoid spoilers. Shoutouts to Gold Level patron Bearsona11. I am ICC, thanks for watching, peace.